It's online intensive chess course for beginners. It's a training program that includes 8 group lessons. Every group lessons lasts for 1 hour and 30 minutes. It also includes 2 individual 1-hour lessons. And what we are going to do, I will show you a little bit later. So, and you, as a bonus, you also get an opening course, and this is how you can build your own opening repertoire. And of course, if you don't like anything, you can get your money back. And today and tomorrow, the price will be just 199. So the day after tomorrow, the price will increase by $50. So you see, if you buy it as a course, it's much better than you buy all these options separately. So for example, no, 2 individual lessons are $80, and here for 199 you get group lessons, this course, online course, also personal recommendations on how to improve, what to work on. This is our course curriculum. So what are we going to do? First, I'm going to conduct a group lesson. There will be 2 group lessons a week, like this masterclass. Then after every lesson, I'll provide you with a homework. There will be about maybe 30 to 50 puzzles. I also ask you to play some games on chess.com. We are going to analyze them. Okay. So first, you have to enroll first. No, it will be 8 lessons plus 2 individual lessons that are not listed here. Okay. So when does the course start? It starts on February 4th. It will be the first group lesson, and the last will be on 28th of February. So how does it work? 2 group lessons, a group lesson 2 times a week. And if you miss this group lesson, then you can watch the recording of this group lesson that will be published here. You will be also provided with the homework that your task will be to complete. No, I just demonstrated how to do it on Lichess. Then I'll check it and we can discuss it on our individual lessons. So how do I get a homework? You will get the access to the study on Lichess that I created specially for you. And of course, you will have a lifetime access to these videos, to our group lessons, and of course to the puzzles. If for any reason you are unhappy with it, just ask for a money back. You can ask for money back for the first 30 days. And I think if you will do 80% of what I say, not everything, but 80% of what I say, you can improve your rating LO by 200 points in just 1 month. Okay, to enroll, you can click here. For example, click here. This is enroll button. Then I'm not a robot. Fine. Yes, and this is where you can edit your credit card information and buy the course. And this is also, you can find some feedbacks from my current students. Okay. So this is the course that I definitely recommend you to enroll it. I think the price is not too expensive because it's a price for 1 month of intensive lessons. And you get the value of the course is much higher than this amount. So the link is provided here in the chat, and you after the webinar, you will be redirected to this website. Okay, I want you to, and if you want, you can enroll today and you will get a notification or when this online course starts. You will also get the access to this course about openings for beginners and club players. Okay, fine. Let's now continue with our masterclass. So our third step that we missed was how to think systematically. And To show how to think systematically, I want I want to show the I want to explain how to think systematically by example of one of my games that I played. That was a great game against a very strong player. His name is Michal Krasenkow. He is a Soviet legend. He is a really strong. He's a really strong grandmaster from Soviet Union. And now he is playing for Polish Chess Federation. We played on Corsica, and finally he was ranked third on Corsica. While I played, I didn't play my best tournament, but it wasn't my best tournament, but I played well, I think. I was playing with black pieces in this game. We are not going to analyze the entire game. I just want to show the moment where you can understand what does it mean to think systematically and what procedure you should follow. So d4, d5, c4, c6. I play Slav defense, so I got used to play against knight c3 in this position, but queen b3. And at that time, I didn't know how to play. Now I know, and I already conducted a webinar, what to do, how to play. So queen b3. That time I played d6. This is a possible move, but not the best one. g3, knight bd7. He plays something similar to Catalan. Bishop g5, and then here I can play b5 or a5 with some counterplay on the queen side, but I played b6. Also a normal move, but too passive. No, it was much better to play, for example, this move. If he does knight c3, I can play a4, and he has to retreat. Because if he takes with his knight, what can I do in this position as black? Try to guess. Oh, no, no not to guess, but to find. D takes c4, right? D takes c4, and then no, queen takes c4 probably, and then b5, right? So queen c6, rook a4, queen b5. He gets so many pawns, but he is down a piece for 3 pawns. But black is better. Rook b4, for example, I gain on b2. That was probably one of the best options to play in this position, but at that moment I decided to play b6, what looked more solid at that time. Rook d1, bishop b7, knight c3. I remember this position, and then when I analyzed it after the game, I also found that this is not the first game that Mitchell plays. He played against a grandmaster who played rook c8 in this position. However, for some reason, I decided to take on c4 and then play b5. This is a typical idea, but it doesn't work really well in this exact position. So then after a few moves, so you see here my task is to play c5 and just make my pieces interact with each other, trade some of them, and simplify the position. So I play c5. He takes on f6. I can't take with my pieces, with my minor pieces, because in such a case I lose the control over c5. That's why here I have to take with the g pawn and double my pawns, what slightly exposes my king. However, that's not the main problem here. Then he takes on c5. I was expecting him to play something like knight a5 with the idea to take on d7, see, or to take my bishop on b7. But he told me after the game that he didn't analyze this move at all. Knight c5, knight c5, bishop c5. Of course, I could take immediately, but decided to play rook a c8 first. Rook d7. No, that's not the best move. In this position, white is better, but it's not easy to come up with a plan. Here, the best idea is to trade this bishop, his light squared bishop for my light squared bishop, and then play the position with the knight against my dark squared bishop. However, even such a strong grandmaster like Michal Krasenkow didn't come up with this plan. Instead, he played rook d7, which looks a natural move, definitely a natural move, because the rook comes to the 7th rank, it occupies it, it attacks the bishop, but then bishop d5 with a temper. And if he thinks that rook d7 was a good move, he should take. So queen e3, bishop c5, attacking the queen, queen h6. Looks risky, but here he blundered queen b6 move. What queen b6 does? It attacks on f2. He may take on f6, but he loses on f2. And in such a case, his rook on c1 will be unprotected. And this is how I can gain a rook and then win the game. Who knows what after e3 in this position? What can I do after this move? Definitely, yes. Bishop takes e3. Of course, he is a grandmaster, and I didn't expect him to play this move. And of course, he noticed bishop takes e3. What's the idea? So if he takes my rook, I take his queen. If he takes here with his pawn, he loses his rook on c1. If he takes here with his queen, then I trade the queens, and then take his rook for free. That's why he played the only good move, which is rook f1 in this position, but then rook fd1, trade the rooks, and my bishops are really strong. And the only problem I have is my king and my double pawns on the f file. So bishop f8, with the idea to relocate the bishop. He plays queen f4. And this is where I want you to stop and think about how to find the next move, how to think systematically to find the best move in this position. Just try to suggest how to play here. You can also look at what he's threatening with. Jose, rook c4 loses immediately. Okay, yeah. Okay, so rook c4, queen c4, and the bishop is pinned. If bishop takes on c4, I lose my queen, and of course a rook on c4. And white is threatening with e4 in this position. He wants to exploit this pin. How to play in this position? Try to suggest a few moves. 1, 2, anyway, anything. Okay, f5 to stop e4. What else? Yeah, f5. Yeah, a pawn move to stop e4, right? Okay, Moritz suggests queen c7. Moritz, and after queen c7, what if he takes on f6? Ah, so you didn't analyze it. Rook c7. Wait, rook c7 doesn't help. You mean what? Rook c7 now, but what if e4? Then pawn takes on d5, he gains a piece. Okay, so how to think systematically? First, you see his plan, what his idea is. He wants to play e4 and exploit this pin and gain a piece. That's why what we should analyze? f5, of course, and maybe some queen moves. Queen c7, queen e7, queen a5. Maybe queen b6 too, but okay, let's find at least 3 or 4 moves candidates and then analyze them. For example, f5. What does this move do? I don't like this move. Why? It's because, yes, e4 now doesn't work. But knight e5, and he increases the pressure with his bishop. After the trade, my f5 pawn gonna be a weakness. And I'm likely to lose it. So that's why f5 is rejected. What else do I have? Queen e7 to get rid of this pin, and also to keep the protection of the f6 pawn. But in such a case, he wins immediately in 2 moves. Who can notice how white can win here immediately? Just 2 moves combination and he wins, and I have to resign after that. I check on g4, right? But first rook d5, e takes d5, and then check on g4. Okay, so queen e7 loses. Bishop g7 maybe, but bishop g7 e4, of course. No, not bishop g7. f5 doesn't work. What about queen a5? Queen a5 looks good. He takes. Then probably bishop g7, queen f4, and now looks like the best option is to take on a2 with a bishop, which doesn't really look good because this is how I allow him to play rook d7, and now f7 is hanging. However, I can save the position by playing e5. But it slightly closes my bishop. So this is not what I really want here. Because if I take on b2, then knight g5, and then I have some problems with these weaknesses. So, for example, I somehow protect here, but he takes on d5 and ruins my pawn structure. And so we analyzed what? 3 moves candidates, f5, queen e7, queen a5. And the 4th move candidate is queen c7. And that what was played in the game. Queen c7, of course, here, what should I calculate? First, queen takes c7, and second, queen takes f6. So if queen c7, I think I'm fine, because I can activate the bishop on the main diagonal. My rook can come to the c2 square, attack his second rank. I don't have any weaknesses, I believe. a2 is hanging. That's why the main move in this position is queen f6. But then bishop g7, the queen retreats, and then queen c2. This is the key move, and this is how I gain a piece back. Oh, sorry, not a piece, but a pawn. Oh, yeah, pawns are also considered to be pieces. This is how I gain a pawn back. His rook and d2 pawns are hanging. At the same time, I also protect it on h7. For example, he moves the rook, then here I played queen c1, but the best move was queen b1, and then I take on a2. So queen c1, then bishop f1, then I take on f3, If he takes, I just take the rook for free. That's why here he has to play this move. Bishop f8 and now takes. But then queen b2, and this is how I gain a pawn back, and the position becomes equal. I would say I'm better, but of course he has a perpetual check on g5. For some reason he played bishop d3, and this is where I could play h6 because a2 is hanging. So, and then somehow try to get the pawn on a2 and promote my pawns on the queen side. But at that moment I decided that queen a2 is enough to get a draw from here, because then I can promote my b pawn, my a pawn, maybe together them. And he had to play this perpetual check. When you play in Corsica, you can't offer a draw. You have to claim a draw. You have to repeat the position, or to get absolutely drawish position to call the arbiter and claim a draw. So he played a perpetual check and claimed the draw after that. If not, then he could lose the game because of two pawns on the queen side. Let's now go back to the move that I played, queen c7. So you see, what's the procedure? We analyze 3 or 4 moves candidates. And of course, we also analyze all the consequences. So for example, here, when I decided to play queen c7, I should analyze his possible moves. What are queen f6 and queen takes c7. All other moves don't really make much sense. And in all these continuations, my position is better, and at least this position is safe. So let me repeat the steps. Analyze, find 3-4 moves candidates, analyze them, try to also analyze all the options that your opponent can't play after you play the move. For example, after queen c7, I told you there are 2 options. All other moves, however, maybe queen g4 check makes sense too, but then at least I can play bishop g7 or maybe king h8 just to keep the b4 pawn protected. So 3 options actually here. You see, queen straight, take the pawn, and then I check on g4. 3 options, and in all the cases, at least I have an equal position. He took, and then queen c2.